Welcome into your PFF State of the Franchise. It is the New Orleans Saints edition. Sam, I guess we have to call Drew Brees an off-season transaction for the Saints. It was pretty much locked in, though, that he was coming back, but that's certainly the biggest move that they've made.
Pretty big re-signing, getting Drew Brees back. Decent move for them.
So not much to talk about other than the fact that he's still playing at an elite level. He's still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, able to get the ball down the field. Interesting, last year, probably the most help he's had from his playmakers. Guys like Alvin Kamara breaking out and picking up yards after the catch. So he's surrounded by a team that has the potential to make a Super Bowl run behind one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. He is not as good as he was in his prime, but he's still more than good enough to get the job done, particularly given now the team has started to surround him with a better supporting cast. You know, you've got that stable of running backs, Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, that were dominating on the ground and as a mismatch weapon in the passing game, in particular Kamara. You've got receivers, you've got an offensive line that was in really good shape towards the end of the year. Drew Brees has got a better situation now than he's had for years, and their defense is moving in the right direction as well, so it's not all about the offense.
Yeah, through 2 weeks last year, the defense looked like the same olds. They were disastrous against the Minnesota Vikings and New England Patriots, but after that, really one of the better defenses in the NFL. We saw rookie Marshawn Lattimore break out, and Cameron Jordan's been this, superstar on that defensive line for quite a while. One of the big re-signings this year, though, Alex Okafor coming back. He did have a bit of a breakout season last year opposite Cameron Jordan. They bring in Demario Davis. He's coming off definitely a career year, and I don't know if you can expect that from him as well. And another career year guy, they're bringing in Patrick Robinson at corner. They're bringing him back to New Orleans after all these years. One of our top-graded cornerbacks last year. Given the steps that they took forward last year on defense with these additions, I kind of like the way it's moving on the defensive side.
Robinson could be the guy that makes the big difference there, because we saw last year with him in Philadelphia, fixing the slot position, both on offense and defense for NFL teams, is huge. You can add as many perimeter corners or perimeter wide receivers as you want, but until you find a guy that can cover the slot and do it at a really high level, there is a huge hole that can be exploited on either side of the ball for teams to target. The Saints have they added Marshawn Lattimore. They had Ken Crawley on the outside. They've got players that can play outside, man up against receivers. They don't have the slot defender yet. Kenny Vaccaro was doing it for much of last year. Disastrous at it. Patrick Robinson, first year last season, really playing 100% in the slot. Not 100%, but primarily as a slot corner. 73.6% of his snaps last season were in the slot. Dramatic difference from the previous years. The highest he'd been before was in the 30s. There were years, his first time with the Saints, where he played in the slot 4% of his snaps. So you're talking about a completely different position that he's going to be playing for them this time. Last season was a career high grade from him in this new role. He allowed 54.5% of passes thrown his way to be caught, which is a really good number for a slot corner. Actually the second best in the league, behind only Chris Harris, who is basically seen as the best slot defender in the NFL. Him coming to that defense could have the same kind of impact that Marshawn Lattimore had on it a season ago, giving them that initial first shutdown corner.
Any concerns with last year being, partially it's just him moving to the slot, but a career year for Robinson, the career year for Demario Davis, 87.3 last year after 2 years in the 40s, and actually 4 out of his 7 NFL seasons have been in the 40s. So that's been rough. And then Alex Okafor as well, he had never graded above 70. He was about an 84 last year in the PFF scale. So all of these big, re-signings and additions, they were coming off career years. It's tough to expect that same level of production 2 years in a row.
Yeah, Okafor I think makes sense. You've got a guy who comes off a career year, a slightly different opportunity level in New Orleans than he'd had before. I think it makes sense for them to bring him back rather than another team who was relying on a repeat of the same level in different circumstances, in a different environment. So I think that makes sense. The Demario Davis one I think is a little different, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the other side of that, where you're taking a guy who's coming off a career year in a different environment. You're expecting him to step in somewhere else and repeat the same level of performance. Plus, New Orleans is where linebackers go to die. So
hasn't been great.
I don't know if Demario Davis is going to be the guy to transform that trend, or if that's just going to be another ugly linebacker signing that's not going to have the desired effect.
We're going to discuss the draft options in a second. I want to go to the offensive side of the ball. Drew Brees can always make any playmakers look good. I still think they have some holes there, maybe to fill in the draft. On the offensive line, though, it seemed like they were prepared for right tackle Zach Strief to, he missed last season, most of last season. He's retired now. Really an underrated career, one of the best right tackles in the NFL since 2011. But with what Ryan Ramczyk did last year as a rookie, he steps right in. When Teron Armstead is healthy at left tackle, maybe one of the best, well, definitely one of the best, maybe the best tackle tandem in the entire NFL. But what are they losing with Strief? Good transition to Ramczyk, but Strief's been really good.
He really has been. And you said it best. He has been one of those perennially underrated players, always been a really high grade at PFF. I'm looking at his PFF grades right now, which you can get part of PFF Edge or Elite. 5 out of 6 seasons grading 80 or above in our system. 0 to 100 scale. Those are extremely good grades. The other two either side of that were 71.9 and 68.1. This is a guy who, when he was starting, was one of the best right tackles in the NFL, did everything well, and he didn't want to step aside until the Saints had somebody else in situ to protect Drew Brees. He didn't want to be the guy sitting on his couch seeing his quarterback go down. They draft Ryan Ramczyk. Ramczyk has a fantastic rookie season.
Yeah, he's good.
Looks like a star, and now he can go quietly off into the night, leaving his position in good hands.
Strief, admirable move there to try to protect Drew Brees. I spent years trying to tell Saints fans he's not that bad. I think you have to see other right tackles around the NFL to appreciate how good Strief has been. All right, let's look forward to the draft. Going back to the defensive side of the ball, you talk about linebackers go to die there in New Orleans, but this might be a perfect draft where there's a few first-round linebackers that could fall to them. There's a lot of buzz for Tremaine Edmunds out of Virginia Tech, maybe going as high as top 10 or top 12. Crazy. We still see him more as a back end of the first-round type of player. He'd be a good fit. Or Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State, who you like even better than Edmunds?
Well, the thing about Tremaine Edmunds is the potential. He's this incredible athletic freak. He's 6'5", he's 250, he's only 19 years old. The athleticism is fantastic. Everybody loses their minds about the potential of what Tremaine Edmunds can be, but it turns out Leighton Vander Esch is basically the same size. His workout numbers are basically the same. The athletic potential is the same, and he was a better player. So other than not being 19, what is it that makes people go for Edmunds over Vander Esch? I don't see that.
It's the massive phrase, 6'5", 255. That's what people see in Edmunds.
What's he going to do with it?
Maybe rush the passer. They want to move him to pass rusher. Some people, because of that frame, I don't necessarily see it, but I like Edmunds.
Taking a guy who's just big and has never rushed the passer before and saying, go get the quarterback.
I like Edmunds late first, though.
Yeah.
Early first, maybe not. Vander Esch we like a little bit more than Edmunds. What about offensive playmakers? We've seen what Michael Thomas has done there in recent years, and again, Brees can make average guys look pretty good, but this feels like another place where maybe they add a little bit more depth at receiver or perhaps even tight end. I keep giving Dallas Goedert, South Dakota State tight end, to anybody in the back end of the first round as a good fit. I could imagine that fit with Brees in New Orleans. Only other place I might be looking as a potentially big need edge, even though you bring Alex Okafor back, Cameron Jordan on one side, or Okafor on the other side, can never have too many guys that get after the quarterback. This could be a good place if Marcus Davenport falls as more of a developmental prospect, big 6'6", powerful edge defender. I think he might be a good fit as well.
Not in the first round, but at some point you're going to need to find Drew Brees' successor.
Oh, now Saints fans do not want to start thinking about that.
It's coming.
Mid-round guys, you love what? Marshall's Chase Litton, is that your guy?
Chase Litton has got a big arm, can make all the throws. Poor man's Josh Allen. Depending on how you feel about Josh Allen, that's either a pretty good thing or a very bad thing.
It's a whole different discussion. Also keep an eye on Kyle Laletta out of Richmond and Mike White out of Western Kentucky. A few different ways that the Saints can go in the draft, but the roster is getting better and better, set up for an NFC run behind Drew Brees next year. That is your New Orleans Saints State of the Franchise, and it's been powered by PFF Elite.